Hey everyone, I'm recording the next episode of the Deep in Bear Country, a Berenstain Bearcast, and I wanted to do it this way because I thought it'd be fun. Maybe that's stupid, but you know, what am I going to do? I already started broadcasting live. So this is going to be my episode of the show, and I'll just edit around any mistakes or long pauses or anything that I make because I'm going to be doing this, I guess, over Facebook, and I don't even know if anyone's going to watch. So haha on me if no one does. Before we begin today's episode, I just wanted to point out that I actually addressed this on Facebook, but I thought it was important to get into the recording. This past weekend, I actually had a live show here in South Minneapolis, and due to technical errors beyond my control, those errors being I forgot to hit the record button on my recorder, I didn't actually record the episode. I had a full panel. We were covering the Berenstain Bears and the new neighbors, and unfortunately, none of it got committed to audio. So I won't be able to actually broadcast the live show, and the people who were in the audience watching the live show enjoyed an exclusive, experience that no one else will ever be able to have. It was just lost to the ether, lost to the ages, as live performance used to always be. It was always something that you just couldn't get anyway. I'm still doing the show. I'm still going to cover the Berenstain Bears' new neighbors. I'm going to get my guests back and talk to them each individually and put together sort of a jumbo episode of Deep in Bear Country in order to cover this much requested, much anticipated book. So be on the lookout for an episode covering the Lost live show. Again, it was all my fault. I forgot to hit record. Okay, and now on to the actual show. Said Mama Bear, "It seems to me you cubs watch too much TV. Watching all that TV slush will surely turn your brains to mush." Welcome back to Deep in Bear Country, a Berenstain Bearcast. I'm your host, Phil Gonzalez, and today we're going to talk about watching too much TV. And not only about watching too much TV, we're going to talk about turning off the TV and getting outside and enjoying nature. Enjoying, dare I say, God's creation? No, I don't dare say that, but the Berenstain Bears dare say that because I am covering 1993's The Berenstain Bears and the Big Picture, but not only 1993's The Berenstain Bears and the Big Picture, I am also covering 2010's The Berenstain Bears Discover God's Creation. That's right, the first book, in case you couldn't guess, was, A Cub Club, Look Ma, I'm Reading, and the next book was, of course, Zonderkids, the 2010 rewrite where they put God in the picture and changed the entire texture of the narrative. Now, I don't have any problem with a book that tells kids, hey, turn off the tube and start getting out and enjoying nature. Stop watching TV. Put down that remote control and go climb a tree or something. I understand kids did that. I didn't personally. I was usually inside watching TV. But I do have a problem when you make God tell me to turn off the TV and get outside and enjoy his creation. It seems a little presumptuous on his part. It's that whole, I made this thing for you to enjoy, now stop what you're doing and go enjoy it. I don't do that. I wouldn't make you stop listening to other podcasts in order to enjoy this podcast, whether or not you would actually enjoy it, I don't know. But I also would use the quality of my product to sell itself. So maybe the Cubs, we'll get to that. First, The Berenstain Bears and the Big Picture by Stan and Jan Berenstain. Again, 1993, A Cub Club. Look, Ma, I'm Reading. This is a book. It's a very simple story. Mama Bear comes in and she catches the Cubs watching television. And she's like, you know what? Turn it off. I'm tired of you kids watching television. And that's where she uses the quote, watching all that TV slush will surely turn your brains to mush. I will not argue, I will not bicker, I will keep the TV clicker. For younger members of the audience, a clicker is what we used to call a television remote because they used to go click because they actually had mechanical buttons in them. It was actually a thing. The kids beg and plead. In fact, we have what is possibly the worst cover of any Berenstain Bears book I've ever seen. It's a composite image of interior images. So if you look on the inside, these are the images that they use on the cover of the book. It's Mama lecturing the cub. She's sticking the remote into her pocket. Brother is literally down on one knee, begging Mama not to take the remote control away. Sister is throwing herself across the ottoman in some weird genuflection to Mama. I don't know. She's begging her. They just took those elements and repurposed them for the cover in a layout that doesn't make any sense. Because of the way they reposition the characters, Mama is not lecturing at them. She's lecturing at someone across the room. Brother looks literally like he's praying to God now. And sister is gazing off somewhere in the mid-distance. It really doesn't work. It's the first example I have of the Cub Club books looking like the effort that was put into the production. Not into the writing, not into the drafting of the layout or the work that the illustrators, the hired illustrators did. I think they still did a fine job. But the cover looks a little jury-rigged, like it was just slapped together at the last minute. They sort of were like, oh, we don't actually have a good enough image for the front. And in that regard, I'm going to say that the Berenstain Bears Discover God's Creation, the 2010 rewrite for Zonder Kids, was actually a superior product. It actually has brother and sister looking like they're discovering God's creation and not like they're begging God to please don't take their TV away, which is kind of a strange portal into your story. But in any case, Mama, of course, doesn't listen to them. She takes their TV away. And sister is literally heartbroken. She's thrown herself across the ottoman and her body is shaking with sobs. This is a child who is not happy with the way things have turned out. This has devastated her. I don't know. I mean, personally, I understand it. If someone took my TV away in maybe not 1993. And like when I was a little kid, probably in like 1983, 84, 85, I hadn't had time to set the VCR. I knew I was going to miss whatever was on TV. I would definitely be this upset. She was probably in the middle of watching a program. And when you're a little kid, you don't really understand that life is ephemeral. Life is transient. Your experiences aren't necessarily... A TV show's not really that important. And to kids these days, who know? I mean, this won't even make any sense to them. TV is something you can grab whenever you want it. Not in my house. Not in my house. Not to belabor the point. We don't have a television in this house. It's not one of those I don't even own a TV situations. We just don't have a TV. There's no place for a television in that. We have a piano in the living room. You can't see it, but there's a piano in the living room where I think other families might put a television. We have an office, but we can't put a TV in there either. There's really no place to sit. We have a basement, but it's very small and dank, and I wouldn't want to watch TV down there. So there's really no place to put a television in this house. We do have our tablets, though. We have like 17 tablets floating around the house. We have laptops, phones. That's kind of how we watch things. We can't invite people over to watch TV. That's not going to... I mean, I'm not going to have a bunch of friends over and be like, okay, you sit on this leg and you sit on my lap and we'll watch a movie. That's just not the way it's going to work. So in that regard, we're a little, hemmed in as far as our life choices go. But our kids understand that TV these days is something I believe the phrase is on demand. You can just say, I want TV now. And then you just turn on the TV, your device, your portable device, and there it is. There's the new Voltron. There's old Strawberry Shortcake cartoons. There's some He-Mans. There's the Gilmore Girls. There's whatever you want. It's just there. Kids don't bust out in sobs like this because you interrupted their show. And maybe they do. I mean, kids don't really understand that. It's a little dated. And also that's that's an old TV set. You have to explain to kids, that's a TV set. That's what they used to look like. They were big and heavy and they stood on legs. But you know what? Brother takes sister and says, hey, look out the window. There's another world. There's a world outside the TV. Acknowledging the fact that television is a portal to another world. And that's really exciting. One of the things I really love about television, by the way, sometimes it's, more exciting than Earth. So they go outside, and they are immediately thrilled at what they see. Flowers, trees, grass, dirt, which is unusual if you read the Berenstain Bear books, because they've been outside before. I have on good authority that brother and sister spend a lot of time just outside. Like, I think actually 90% of the books are set outside. They have gone into the woods. They explore their environment. They've solved mysteries, actually, that require them to encounter wild animals. They've been outdoors. This book is in a little weird pocket. Maybe like there was a week or two where they were just watching too much television. But you know what? They discover some rather obnoxious things, which are there's stuff called grass, there's things called trees, and flying things called birds and bees. And This is the narrator speaking. This is one of those things parents say to kids. Like, hey, look out the window. You know what those are? Those are called flowers. Haven't seen those in a while, have you? Like, it's one of those obnoxious things that a parent would say to a child when they want them to get outside. Maybe you should look outside and discover there's a world. They're sort of presenting it in a positive way, but it's kind of obnoxious. And way, way up high, there's a big blue thing called the sky. And there's other cubs running around, playing with them. And you know what? When you get tired, you can just sit and stay with your friends. So it says there's other cubs to run and play with. And when they got tired, to sit and stay with. Which, that's cool. I guess staying is a thing. Like, just stay with your friends when you're done with them. Like, I guess you could also, like, walk away or go, like, to a different playground or just say, hey, I'm going to go inside now. Or you can just stay with your friends. But they go and they play and they slide and there's cool dinosaurs to ride on, which, to me, this is like, hey, there's a little Mike Berenstain influence here, I want to say, because he's the dinosaur guy. Like, he's the dinosaur guy. If you see dinosaurs, think Mike Berenstain. That's kind of his bag, man. They climb, they play in the rain. It does say that sometimes it rained, and one day it even hurricaned. I don't think so. I don't think it actually hurricaned. Don't do that. Don't go outside if it's hurricaning. Like, please don't go outside in a hurricane. And besides, does this put bear country somewhere on the coast if it's hurricaning? Maybe maybe it is like, okay, so do we know that this is the East Coast now? Like, is this an East Coast hurricane is what I'm saying. If this is really a hurricane, I'm just putting that out there. Just thoughts, just think about it. East Coast hurricanes. This ain't the Midwest. No hurricanes here recently, at least. I mean, I've only lived here about a little less than 20 years. No hurricanes here. So, the sun spreads out. There's light all about. Who needs TV? They're like, who needs TV? At this point, they're sold. They're done with TV because they found a better world. And get this. This is my favorite, because if this doesn't sell the outdoors to kids, you're done. This other world we have found has a better picture and better sound. And worlds of wonder all around. This is pre-4K, so, they don't know yet. They don't know what's coming as far as, like, the quality of our televisions. They haven't figured that one out yet. But as of the writing of this book, yeah, there's better things, on TV now. Like, I mean, it's not always good sound. Sometimes you go outside and there's just nothing to listen to. Always something to listen to on television. So they see the moon up in the sky. It's time to go home. And what do they see when they get home? Why, it's Papa Bear watching something on TV. They don't show us what it is, but from the look on Papa's face, I would say it's probably something the kids shouldn't be seeing. That's a quality grimace you got there, Papa Bear. Oh boy, he just hunched right over that screen, and that's the most guilty face I've ever seen on poor Papa Bear. So the Cubs turn Mama's philosophy back around on Papa Bear. Too much of that TV slush will surely turn your brain to mush. And Papa's like, I wasn't watching anything. So the message of the book overall is that you should get outside. Don't watch too much television. Go outside. There's things to do. And you know what? I totally agree. Sometimes a little outdoors is nice. Sometimes I like to go for a walk myself. Sometimes I'll put on shoes. And I mean, that's pretty much all I have to contribute to the conversation about going outside. But sometimes I'll do that. And I will put on headphones and block out what's around me. But I will enjoy what's outside. That's my prerogative. And I say the Berenstain Bears in the big picture is a nice way to... We've already had the Berenstain Bears and Too Much TV, which address this directly. This is more about the flip side. It's not too much TV, it's just not enough of that good nature stuff. That just dirt between your toes. These are fingers, but the dirt between your toes. The wind in your face, the rain on your cheeks. Not enough of that. So, the Berenstain Bears in the big picture, 1993, Cub Club, look, Ma, I'm reading. It's a good book. I mean, it's not great. It's a little heavy-handed, but it's a fine enough book. Now, what happens when God gets involved? Let's find out. The Berenstain Bears discover God's creation. Now, this isn't just find out about God's creation. They are discovering this. This is something new. We start off with a Bible quote, and God saw it was good. Genesis 1:10. God did see it was good. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Genesis story, it goes like this. There was nothing, and then God created everything, and then God said, this is good. That's pretty much how it went. And that's a quote. That's a real quote from the Bible. He said it's good. So if we're trying to convince children to go outside, because the big push is go outside and enjoy out there because God made it. And it's great. It's not going to get any better. But then we're sort of creeping into like Voltaire territory with the whole like, hey, there's no other world, so I guess this is the best one, right? Like you're not going to the moon anytime soon, kids. Although there was a Berenstain Bears book where they went to the moon. We covered that many episodes ago. I think it was a Dreamscape book. I don't think it was related to the actual continuity of the book. They didn't go to the moon. But hey, you're probably not going to live long enough to see us going to Mars. So enjoy this world. It's the only one out there. This God's creation. Love it because hey, that's the life you have. So I don't see that as much of an argument. I don't see the notion that this is God's creation as a good argument to go outside. Because of course it is. If you believe in God, if you believe the world was created by a God, you've already accepted that. Like that's part of your deal. That's part of life. That's like saying like, oh, hope you enjoy that broken leg. That's God's broken. He made that leg, made it breakable. I have a question here on the screen. Are there dino climbers in the God's creation version? I agree with you, Karina. I guess we'll see. Let's find out. Let's take a look. See if there's any changes. There's changes. But let's see if there's any changes. So Mama Bear, again, she walks in. She sees them, watching the TV. There's the same bowing and scraping, pleading, Mama, please, Mama, no. We haven't seen any religious stuff yet. The kids are stunned. They're shocked. And then Brother has a bright idea. Look out the window, Sister Bear. I see another world out there. And that's what happened in the other book. But then it says it was bear country. God's creation. It was lovelier than any old TV station. And you know what? That's a good rhyme. That's a good, solid rhyme. You worked in the main theme of the book. You worked in the fact that they were watching TV. That's good. We are left with the notion, though, that bear country itself is God's creation, not the earth in general. So I'm going to take the book at its word, that they're saying that there's the world, there's the planet that we enjoy, there's Pigville, Goatsburg, Duckton, and bear country. And all we're saying right now is you're in God's country now. Like this is bear country. We can't speak for the rest of the universe, but bear country was created by a kind and loving God. And that might not be the ultimate message. Maybe bear country is everything in this world. Like maybe there is no outside bear country. Like maybe to the Berenstain Bears, you don't cross that border anymore. Like you could go to Aardvark land, but none of us are going to go there. Maybe it's kind of a like, we don't speak to the bears who leave God's country anymore. Like they're gone. Like they have disappeared. There's no reports of them coming back. There's no reports of them leaving because we destroyed all records. So I don't know. It was bear country, God's creation. And it was better than any old TV station. I mean, we're just kind of take your word for it. So they go outside, and we have our usual things, but they start throwing in little references. They say there was stuff called grass, things called trees, flying things called birds and bees. How did God think up all these? How did God think up all these? We don't really learn that. We know that from Genesis that there was nothing. There was chaos. And God said, let there be light, let there be this, let there be that. And there was. We don't really get a good peek behind the curtain. Now, if someone were to say, write a prequel and to the Bible, say, if I have any local writer friends, playwright friends, maybe they could write a good solid prequel to the Bible where we really find out what was going on in God's head. How did he think up these birds? Did he have to think about it a long time? Was it a specific thing? We're going to find out sooner or later if there were or were not dinosaurs. I don't know. We know now that dinosaurs, there was an evolutionary process and then there were birds. I won't say that birds were dinosaurs. This isn't like Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park, but there's a shared there's a shared heritage, like descendants, like evolutionary lineage there, and then birds. But there's birds in God's creation. And the sky stretching to heaven above was filled with signs of God's great love. All right, so we're down to Bear Country was created by God. There are birds in Bear Country. We don't know how God thought them up. And the sky is full of God's signs of God's love. Now, this is not the same as like the signs that we saw in one of the previous books where Brother was accidentally creating like occult symbols out of pickup sticks. That's not this. This is other signs. I'm not sure what those other signs were or are, because they skipped that part. It just says the sky is full of signs of God's love. The other bears run. The cubs run and play, and when they get tired, they sit and stay. We saw that. And whoops. Bazinga. Dinosaurs in Bear Country. Dinosaurs in God's Bear Country. This is God's country. This is Bear Country. This is Dinosaur Country. And this is not... Okay, so we know that there's dinosaur bones. We've found dinosaur bones. And actual factual exists in this world. In one of the other religious rewrites we have coming up, there is an actual factual. So he's got that museum. He's got those dinosaur bones. I don't know what the bears have to say on the age of the planet. They don't go into really heavy biblical analysis. They don't, we're just throwing out quotes here. In fact, we haven't thrown out a single quote here. We've only thrown out one quote, and that was in the intro. That was just the dedication. That was just a quote from the Bible, and it's just the most generic quote of all. It was, I mean, you could read the Bible for 5 minutes and you've like gone way past that quote. Like, that's biblical quoting for lazy people, like for beginners. I don't know. Mike was a little shy talking about his process of creating these religious books. So I don't know how he puts together like what religious aspects of what are going where, or if he's just trying to fill space with these rewrites. Because the newer books, the ones that he wrote from the ground up, obviously he could write from the ground up. But I don't know if he how long he spent. Did he spend 10 minutes doing this? Did he spend like a good day doing this? I don't know his process, but this one stands out as not having a whole lot of meat added to it, which is strange because it's all about nature and God and stuff. But we do know that there's dinosaurs. There's dinosaurs as toys. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe in Bear Country, in God's Bear Country, maybe they're just like fantasy characters, maybe from like the Bear of the Rings. And that's a thing. That's an actual thing in the Berenstain Bear books. There's the Bear of the Rings, I believe it's called. Sister Bear watches it on DVD in a book. I won't be getting to that one for several years. It's a later book, but trust me, there's Bear of the Rings. Who needs TV? Everything's great. Brother and sister go home. God's creation, we have found, has better picture and better sound. A little tweaking of words. And worlds of wonder all around. Thanks, Lord, for this world we've found. Paying a little lip service, thanking God for everything he's done. Thing up there called the moon. They should be home soon. They walk in on Papa Bear. Again, that look. Oh, Papa Bear. I don't know what you were watching up there. It was nothing good. Maybe one of them HBO shows. I don't know. I've heard about them. I don't watch adult programming. I don't watch anything that I wouldn't want my kids walking in on. I would never watch. I don't watch shows with swearing or skimpy clothes. I wouldn't even watch a thing with a swimsuit in it. Not this Papa Bear. So, Papa, too much of that TV slush will surely turn your brain to mush is where the original book ended. This book ends. Come outside and you will see God's creation is much better than any old TV. Again, really whiffed it on the final poem. Just didn't stick the landing. Come outside, you will see God's creation is better than any old TV. Not even better than any old TV show. Just had to get that rhyme in there. Didn't really. All right, let's take a look. Final judgments. Berenstain Bears in the big picture versus Berenstain Bears discover God's creation. Now, listeners know that in the past I have been gung-ho about these Zonder Kids rewrites. I think that they are fascinating artifacts. I think they are delicious and a cool way to look at how someone... There's the phone. There's the phone. Hold on. I'm going to edit this out of the actual broadcast. Hold on. I don't know who it was. You just hit stop, and then you just hope for the best. So, where was I? Oh yeah, so in the past, I've been super gung-ho about these religious books. I really enjoy the way they add another layer, a little bit of texture to the otherwise bland text, the sort of like, just sort of like pedestrian lessons they're teaching. But, this one not so much. Didn't have a whole lot of meat on its bones. I mean, I guess if you're gonna teach your kids to go outside, like get outside, turn off the TV, look at trees, play with friends, that's going to sell it one way or the other. Like you're either going to convince your kids to go outside or you're not going to convince your kids to go outside. And I don't think that telling them that God made everything, if you haven't told them that yet, like if you're a person who teaches God to kids and you haven't yet taught the whole idea that God created things, that's like lesson number 1. That's like kid religion. That's entry level kid religion stuff. That's like where you start. Like day 1, you're like, so before we go anywhere else, everything you see around you, there's God. He's behind you too. He can see and hear everything you say. That's all right. Let's move on. Now we'll read Genesis to a degree. Like we're not going to read the whole thing. We're going to pick and choose some of the better stories because it gets kind of ugly there around the Noah parts and stuff. So I'm just going to skip that. But that's easy. That's nothing. So I can see where they wanted to like have this thing to like kind of celebrate. Maybe that's it. Maybe this is their like, hey God, like we're staying back. Like this is a book where we're just like, we're singing your praises. You're supposed to do that, right? Like you're supposed to like sing the praises every once in a while. Like that's kind of the rules. Like, yeah, you made it great. Remember when you looked down and said it was good? Yeah, we kind of agree with you. So, but it doesn't really add anything. And the new rhymes are a little bit clunky. I liked the creation and TV station rhyme, but not enough to run right out and suggest anyone buy it. And it does have a better cover. It's a brother and sister walking into the treehouse, and it looks better than the original cover. But I'm going to say give it a pass. If you're not, fully committed to buying it already, you don't have to. It's cute, but otherwise, I would stick with the Berenstain Bears other books, because even the Berenstain Bears in the big picture isn't that great. It's just a book about going outside. If you happen to stumble across it at a used bookstore, sure, pick it up. It's out of print. You're not going to find this anywhere other than at your local wherever. So that's it. That's my whole spiel. Berenstain Bears, I give it a pass. We got so many more Cub Club books coming up you wouldn't even believe. But again, deep in bear country. What am I doing? This is the end of my show. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching if you're watching. I noticed there were a couple of people and a few comments. That was pretty nice to see. Kind of crazy. I will be back with more Cub Club books. I'll be back with, we're going to get back into the first-time reader books. We're going to get some more guests. We're going to get some more fun. We're going to get some more live shows, hopefully going on sometime in the near future. Going to have Brad and Jeremy back. Going to look at some crazy Berenstain Bear artifacts. And otherwise, I am at Twitter at BStainBearcast. I am at BerenstainBearcast.wordpress.com. You can write to me at BerenstainBearcast@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for this. I had a blast. And I will see all of you next week, deep in bear country. And that's where I pause. And I pause a little bit before I hit stop on my recorder, like that. A little peek behind the curtain. I always pause just in case I need a little, like, extra time or something. I don't know. But there's one person left watching. Thank you, one person left watching. I'm going to go now because my kid's watching TV and I got to get her off of it. And it's not a TV. I know I said it on TV. It's my computer. She's watching my computer. So, goodbye.